You know that feeling when you've just spent time with someone and you feel drained, not angry, not sad, just empty, like something was taken from you that you can't even name. And you sit there afterwards, staring at nothing, wondering why you feel so tired. You tell yourself you're overthinking. You tell yourself you're being dramatic. But deep down your body knows something your mind doesn't want to accept. There are people in your life who don't destroy you loudly. They do it quietly. So quietly, you don't even realize it's happening. Through small comments that sound like concern. Through favors that come with invisible strings attached. Through presence that somehow makes you feel more alone than if you were by yourself. And here's the worst part. You defend them. You make excuses for them because they haven't done anything you can really point to, right? Nothing you can prove. Nothing that sounds bad when you say it out loud. So you stay, and every single interaction costs you a little more energy than it gives back. But listen to me for a second. This isn't weakness on your part. This is biology. Your brain was designed to detect threats, but only the obvious ones. Physical danger. Clear aggression. The predator you can see coming. Modern toxicity. It doesn't work like that. It slips past every alarm system you have. It targets the parts of your psychology that were built for connection, not protection, and that's exactly why it works so well. You're not naive for missing the signs. You're not stupid for staying too long. You're human. Your attachment system was built thousands of years ago in an environment where being pushed out of your group meant death. Literal death. So your brain became incredibly sensitive to social belonging and deeply resistant to seeing danger in people you're emotionally connected to. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance. And here's how it works. When someone you care about does something that contradicts the version of them you hold in your mind, your brain has two options. Option 1. Update your image of them. Option 2. Update your perception of reality. And almost every time, your brain picks option 2. You rationalize what they did. You justify it. You minimize it. You tell yourself stories about why it wasn't that bad. Because admitting they might not be who you thought, that feels dangerous. Changing your view of them feels scarier than doubting yourself. So you don't. And that's not a flaw in you. It's a feature. A survival feature. One that toxic people, whether they know it consciously or not, have learned to exploit. Think about your relational energy like a bank account. Healthy people, they make deposits and withdrawals. They take from you sometimes, sure, but they also give back. The exchange balances out over time. You feel good around them, even when things are hard. Toxic people only withdraw, but they're so skilled at it you don't even notice the account draining until you're running on empty. They use something psychologists call intermittent reinforcement. It's the same psychological trick that makes slot machines so addictive. Every now and then, they're kind. Every now and then, they validate you. Every now and then, you get a glimpse of the person you thought they were. Just enough to keep you hoping. Just enough to keep you believing that next time will be different. And your brain, it releases dopamine, not because you're actually getting the reward, but because you might. That uncertainty, that unpredictability, it's more powerful than consistency could ever be. It keeps you hooked. Let me show you the 7 types, the 7 patterns your nervous system is already screaming at you to recognize. Type 1, the emotional vampire. You know this person. They never ask how you are. They just tell you how they are. Every single conversation becomes about their crisis, their drama, their pain. And somehow, no matter what you're going through, the focus always shifts back to them. Psychologically, this is what's called narcissistic supply. They literally regulate their emotions by consuming your attention. And when you just try to share your own experience, the conversation gets redirected. Smoothly, subtly. Oh, that reminds me of when Your empathy becomes their fuel, and you walk away from every conversation feeling like you just performed in a one-person audience for someone else's life, exhausted, used, invisible. Type 2. The covert controller. This one's tricky, because they never actually tell you what to do. They just make you feel absolutely terrible for doing anything else. Oh, ... I thought we were close. I guess I'm just not a priority to you anymore. Do you hear it? That's guilt-based manipulation. It's weaponized attachment anxiety. They've figured out that your fear of being a bad person is stronger than your desire for freedom. So they frame their needs as moral tests, and every boundary you try to set, it becomes evidence that you're selfish, cold, uncaring. You're not, but they'll make you feel like you are. Type 3. The chronic critic. Oh, they're just being honest, just trying to help, just looking out for you. But somehow ... every piece of feedback they give leaves a tiny cut. And those cuts, they add up. This is nagging disguised as concern. Evolutionary psychology tells us that when someone lowers your self-esteem, you become more dependent on their validation. The person who wounds you becomes the only one who can heal you. It's a closed loop. And before you know it, you're seeking their approval just to prove their criticism wrong. You're performing for someone who will never be satisfied. Type 4. The jealous saboteur. Pay attention to this one. They celebrate your failures more genuinely than your wins. When something good happens to you, their smile doesn't quite reach their eyes. Their congratulations feels ... hollow. This is social comparison theory in action. Their self-worth isn't based on how well they're doing. It's based on how much worse you're doing. So, unconsciously, sometimes consciously, they create obstacles for you. Are you sure you're ready for that? I knew someone who tried that. ... It didn't end well. Little doubts planted in fertile soil. And they grow. Type 5. The idealized stranger. They love you, but not the real you. They love the version of you they built in their head, the one that fits their needs, their fantasy, their story. And the moment you show them something real, something that doesn't match their projection, you feel their disappointment. This is objectification. You're not a person to them. You're a character in their narrative. And any authenticity that contradicts that image feels like betrayal to them. So you start performing, you start hiding parts of yourself, shrinking, editing, pretending. Until one day you look in the mirror and realize you forgot who you actually were. Type 6. The perpetual victim. Nothing is ever their fault. Ever life just happens to them, and somehow you're always the one responsible for fixing it. This is learned helplessness turned into a weapon. They've discovered something powerful. Appearing powerless makes other people feel powerful. And your need to feel competent, your need to help, it becomes their tool. But here's the thing. No matter what you do, the problem never gets solved. Because the problem isn't actually the situation. It's the dynamic. They need you to play rescuer so they can keep playing victim. And the cycle never ends. Type 7. The gaslighter. This is the most dangerous one, because they don't argue with your feelings. They make you doubt you ever had them. You're too sensitive. That's not what happened. You're remembering it wrong. This is reality distorted as a control tactic. When you can't trust your own perception anymore, you become completely dependent on theirs. Psychologist Dr. Robin Stern calls this the gaslight effect, a slow, gradual erosion of your self-trust. And once that foundation cracks, you lose your ability to leave, because you don't trust yourself enough to know if you should. Here's what connects all 7 of them. Each type exploits a different vulnerability in you. Your empathy, your attachment, your self-doubt, your need for validation, your desire to be good, your competence, your perception of reality itself. but they all of them share one core mechanism. They make the relationship feel like your responsibility, not a shared space, not a partnership. Your job to maintain, your failure when it hurts. That's the pattern, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. You don't need to confront them. You don't need to fix them. You don't even need to explain yourself. You just need to stop funding the transaction. Stop interpreting their behavior as your personal failing. Stop making yourself smaller to make them more comfortable. Your nervous system has been trying to tell you something for a long time now. Not through thoughts, through exhaustion, through that heavy feeling in your chest, through the relief you feel when plans get cancelled. Listen to Italiano. Not everyone who stays in your life deserves to be there. And recognizing that, that's not being cold. That's not being selfish. That's clarity. You're not overthinking this. You're finally paying attention.